Let's see here. I think so. So there's that. Okay, we good? We good? Everybody good? Good, good. All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Attorney General Dave Sunday. I want to thank everyone for your time and attention to this very important issue that impacts every community throughout the Commonwealth. Society should be judged by the way that it treats its most vulnerable members. I've taken that sentiment seriously since my first day as a prosecutor, and I will carry it with me always. Advocating for those who are not fully able to protect themselves is our most solemn duty as public servants. I know it is a duty taken seriously by each and every person joining me on stage today. Specifically, we are here to talk about manipulation, exploitation, and other forms of abuse of older Pennsylvanians. I've noticed during my time as an assistant district attorney, and then as district attorney and now as attorney general, that seniors continue to be targeted by bad actors who see them as an easy target. And in Pennsylvania, there are a lot of potential targets. We have the fourth highest population of seniors in the entire country. At the Attorney General's office, we constantly field calls and complaints, dozens of them every month, about seniors being harmed or possibly harmed in acts of fraud, theft, and abuse. Now more than ever, seniors need strong advocates. And here we are. Look at our partners that are here today. I am proud to announce that in response to this great need, the Office of Attorney General has launched an Elder Exploitation Section that will enhance the office's mission of putting a stop to these crimes and holding offenders accountable by filing criminal charges. We will continue to do all we can to make victims whole while working to spread awareness so that we ultimately see fewer of these absolutely heartbreaking cases. And that is where the partners here today will be critical to this mission. It is a mission that they already pursue every single day. Nothing this large in scale can ever be accomplished alone. Let me introduce those partners here before I get into more details about our expanded exploitation section. So today we have Jason Kavulich, the Secretary of Aging, is with us today. Wendy Spiker, Secretary of Banking and Securities. We have chairs of the Senate Aging and Youth Committee, which are Pennsylvania Senator Wayne Langerholk and Senator Maria Collette. We also have chairs of the House Aging Committee as well, and that's Pennsylvania Representative Maureen Madden and Rep. Stephen Menser. In addition to that, we have people here from the following organizations: AARP, the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, the Pennsylvania Home Care Association, the Pennsylvania Bankers Association, the American Legion, the VFW, the Alzheimer's Association, the Senior Law Center, NOVA, Leading Age PA, and additional members of both the Senate and the House Aging Committee are here with us as well today, and members of the Attorney General's Office, which we will get into here shortly. So with that being said, so what will the Attorney General's Elder Exploitation Section do? We've heard about all the different varieties of scams targeting seniors, from romance scams, imposter scams. Today, those even involve AI, which I know a lot of people have heard of, and are commonly perpetuated by unknown actors overseas. Those scams are as plentiful as they are absolutely devastating to the victims. My Bureau of Consumer Protection will remain focused on those incidents as well. Every single day, our Medicaid fraud section deals with criminal acts that deprive and defraud seniors of their Medicaid benefits, as well as acts of physical abuse and neglect. That section will not relent in its pursuit of those offenders as well. The Elder Exploitation Section will primarily deal with cases where seniors are deceived and exploited, most commonly financially, by people close to them, trusted to look out for their well-being. In other words, we will know who is causing the harm, and we will prosecute those bad actors under criminal statutes while trying to recover what we can for the victims to help them heal. And that recovery Thank you. Yep. And that recovery is an absolute challenge, as these are some of the most callous acts of betrayal imaginable. Oftentimes, the bad actors are family members. Nearly 2/3 are relatives. In other cases, they may be caregivers. We're talking about guardians, conservators, or those designated as a power of attorney, most commonly an adult child of the senior, but not always. These are individuals entrusted to offer protection and safeguards over financial assets, assets often accumulated during the senior's entire lifetime. Instead, they deliberately and intentionally steal from the senior, who may be of varying degrees of diminished capacity. Once the key to the vault is relinquished, it does not take long for someone's entire life savings to disappear if the power of attorney or guardian has those ill intentions. Few acts are more cowardly and cold, yet they happen in every part of the Commonwealth. Now, we want to be careful to not get ahead of ourselves, but the Elder Exploitation Section has already, in just a few weeks, compiled a caseload of over 30 cases. We created this section by reassigning existing staff who have backgrounds and experience specifically in elder law. These are very, very complex cases involving meticulous review of financial records and other documents. Municipal police departments may not have the resources required to take on these complex investigations, and that's understandable. The Elder Exploitation Section will have those resources, and we expect referrals to come in from police departments, county, state, and federal agencies, and other sources. This section will also be a resource to each and every one of the other sections in the Attorney General's office that interact with seniors. I can't be more sincere about this. It is absolutely critical that we as public servants do everything in our power to protect senior citizens. We, God willing, in this room, will be blessed someday to be there, and I'm going to want to know that there are people out there fighting for us, just like we're fighting for the people that worked unbelievably hard to help us get to where we are. I just feel so strongly that, a society should be viewed on how it protects the most vulnerable citizens. And I think that, it's so heartening, and I am digressing from my remarks here, but it is so heartening to have so many people here together that care so much about this, that are putting so much work into these cases. The people that are going to be in this section in my office, they will have training and experience in working with the elderly who oftentimes need specialized attention in order to communicate what has taken place. Some of the worst cases that I've seen, and one in particular when I was a district attorney, involved a gentleman who had severe dementia, who had things stolen from him repeatedly, and he was in a place where he couldn't even articulate what was taken and was nowhere near in a position where he could testify in court. And thank God, and I always say this, thank God for the best witness that exists in a lot of criminal cases, and that is the nosy neighbor who watched everything happen. And she walked into a courtroom and testified, and that individual was convicted. So this section will help us break down silos and ensure that we're addressing the needs of all of our elderly constituents. Under Title 18, Section 3922.1, our legislature has given us a tool to pursue and prosecute these offenders who can face felony charges. That charge is financial exploitation of an older adult or care-dependent person. And not to go too deep into the legalities, but these would be instances where the victim is 60 or older and has lost more than $20,000. That doesn't mean if you steal less than $20,000, you won't be prosecuted, but these are some of the cases that we are going to be actively looking at. The section led by Chief Deputy Attorney General Elizabeth Schneider and Chief Agent Lucas Miller, who are both here, will also take on cases of physical abuse and criminal neglect, because oftentimes those cases come hand in hand with the financial exploitation and are just as despicable, and we need to make sure we do everything we can to hold people accountable that physically abuse senior citizens. But we expect that the lion's share for this unit will be the financial exploitation cases. There's another arrow in our quiver to fight those who target seniors. And as I mentioned before, our Bureau of Consumer Protection is on the front line combating scammers who view seniors as an easy mark, especially online where many older residents are not as sophisticated on those platforms. And unfortunately, as often as we can teach people to avoid scams, the bad guys come up with new scams just as fast. That's why the educational component is so unbelievably important. Our healthcare section is advocating every day for Pennsylvanians who deserve accessible health care from providers who treat them with respect and dignity. Our Office of Public Engagement is all over the Commonwealth, giving presentation at care homes, retirement homes, and community hubs regarding the different services that we offer, along with warnings about trending scams and what exploitation looks like. And I cannot overstate the importance of that work. Because when someone is abused, exploited, deceived, or stolen from, there is pain and financial loss that can be absolutely overwhelming. And we do all we can to offer support there as well. But we would rather no one be victimized in the first place. And we can only achieve that through education and awareness. Everyone on this stage can tell you about that. We all can play a role to deter and prevent these horrific acts, and we all must play a role. Magic happens when people work together, and I'm so proud to be here with a team of individuals who care so deeply about these issues that we all are working together to achieve these goals. In reality, 1 in 10 seniors have experienced abuse in the past year, and that is absolutely unacceptable. Yet as few as 1 in 44 incidents of elder abuse are actually reported. That tells me that there are many, many more victims out there, and many of them are silent. And if there's any watching this press conference, I want them to know that there are people out here that care, are willing to help, and I promise you, if you're watching this, you are not the only one that this has happened to. In fact, it probably happened to friends, family members, and neighbors, but they just haven't shared that with you. These type of crimes are absolutely unacceptable to me, and I know they are to everyone here today. So in closing, to all the partners here, you have my full admiration and applause, because these are heart-wrenching cases to see someone lose everything they worked for, and how do you recover from that? An alliance of advocacy is here, as is United across the Commonwealth. The Elder Exploitation Section is an expansion of the services that my office provides, and we will not be doing this work alone. I think that the legislators who have recognized elder abuse is a very real thing, especially in Pennsylvania, where our senior population is amongst the highest in the country. And this obviously impacts people from rural Pennsylvania to urban Pennsylvania to everywhere in between, and it's something that I know is taken very, very seriously. To advocacy groups like AARP, who I now am a member of recently, who work every day to provide a spectrum to services to seniors, I want to thank them. All the advocacy groups who work tirelessly. There are people in our communities in the different agencies, for example, the area agencies on aging, who work unbelievably hard to get out into the community. I know that work is overwhelming. I know they're understaffed, and I want to thank them for everything they do. On behalf of the Office of Attorney General, and our team who share this common mission, I say to everyone else, we're here as collaborators, and we will be, and we will continue to be, because protecting our most vulnerable neighbors is a solemn duty that we all share. So with that being said, I'm now going to turn it over to Secretary Kavulich. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Attorney General, I have to thank you. I have to thank you on behalf of 3.4 million older Pennsylvanians for what we're doing here today, what we're talking about here today. This is not just incredible, this is exciting. To think about what we're achieving. This special unit is long overdue. And for those of us like myself who did this work in the field with strained resources, this is an important day and a strategic victory for older Pennsylvanians. The Department of Aging has the responsibility to serve Pennsylvania's older adults, but we know that no one entity can do this work of protecting older adults by ourselves. Anyone who interacts with an older adult has a role to play in preventing, detecting, reporting financial exploitation and abuse. The Department of Aging, through the Older Adult Protective Services Act, its 52 area agencies on aging, and a statewide system of protective services for individuals over the age of 60, addresses reports of abuse, neglect, and exploitation. All too often, these cases that we address do not reach the level of prosecution because of local resources being strained. This section changes that and gives us a new avenue to work with law enforcement to better prosecute older adults better prosecute in the name of older adults who have been perpetrated on. Today, 1 in 4 Pennsylvanians are over the age of 60. That is 3.4 million. In just a few short years, that number will change to 3.8 million, making 1 in 3 Pennsylvanians over the age of 60. The numbers do not deceive us. In order to meet these needs and protect the growing numbers of older adults, we must work together to innovate and to evolve systems. This new section is evolution. Pennsylvania has the fifth, oldest population in the country. Now more than ever, there is a greater need for cross-system collaboration to address complex needs and complex cases. We know older adults are at greater risk of being targeted for financial exploitation. We are living in a time where over half of our nation's accumulated wealth lies in the hands of a single generation, the baby boomers. Time and time again, we see the wealthiest older adults targeted and exploited and losing their entire life savings. There are other factors to consider, such as behavioral health and physical changes that occur during the natural aging process, and an increased dependency on others with day-to-day living. Individuals experiencing cognitive decline or living with Alzheimer's disease or other dementias are also at increased risk of exploitation. We see these realities reflected in the numbers of reports or needs or RONs that come to the doors of our area agencies on aging. They continue to rise each and every year. In 17-18, we saw 32,253 reports of needs in our aging system. In 23-24, we received 58,614 reports of needs of allegations of every type. 8,485 of these reports, about 32%, were for financial exploitation. Financial exploitation now is the largest report of need that the Department of Aging and its area agencies on aging receive across the Commonwealth. Protective services has changed constantly and significantly. In today's world, technology advances daily. We are all connected, and these improvements make our lives easier. But they also make it easier to develop sophisticated and complex scams to financially exploit those who aren't expecting it. We must work together to ensure proper protections are in place in order to prevent and reduce the risk of older adults losing their entire life savings. After the money is stolen, it is often impossible to get it back. Imagine if you've worked your whole life, 50 years or more, saving for retirement, and in an instant, it's gone. I have seen scenarios like this firsthand. There's nothing worse than not being able to help a victim or direct them to a resource that can help them. We must address older adult abuse in every form together, and we must make sure that we prosecute those perpetrators of abuse the best we possibly can. These victims did all that they needed to do financially to plan for their futures. They did nothing wrong, oftentimes other than trusting in a scam artist or a family member that chooses to exploit them. Pennsylvania is the best place in the nation to age. We are an age-friendly state. We have Aging Our Way PA, our multi-sector plan to build the future of aging. We have professionals in state government and local government committed to working together to guarantee we remain the best state in the Commonwealth to age in. Financial exploitation is the fastest growing threat to our future, and that's why we must fight together. That is why we must work together. That is why this new division is so essential to the work that we do. Attorney General Sunday and to your team, thank you for the work you do to protect our wisest neighbors. Working with you and your team in partnership, we will better protect older Pennsylvanians and guarantee that Pennsylvania remains the best state in the country to age in. And with that, I have the honor of turning it over to Chairman Langerhalk of the Senate Aging and Youth Committee.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Attorney General Sunday, for this leadership for this initiative. As chair of the Aging and Youth Committee, my fellow chair, Senator Collette, and I held a hearing not too long ago to discuss these very issues. And as was indicated by Secretary Kvulich, financial exploitation is the #1 issue. 39% of cases in the 23-24 data analysis lead to that. So we are committed in the Senate to ensuring that all of those individuals have the opportunity to do their jobs to ensure that our seniors are protected. I want to talk to you a little bit about my time before being in the Senate. I was a prosecutor, and I had a case dealing with elder abuse. It was a 90-year-old lady who lived alone. Her only relative was her daughter, who was away in California, and she was befriended by a handyman, and she was bilked for over $600,000 over 8 years, and that's all that we could go back. That was as far as we could go back with the statute of limitations, and we charged that individual and brought him, before the courts. And I don't know if he thought that we weren't serious or if he thought that the 90-year-old would not testify, but he took it to trial. That was a mistake on his part. We convicted him, and I will never forget the look on his face when we brought her to testify in her wheelchair and wheeled her down, and she was flawless. And we convicted him, and that was the first elder abuse mandatory minimum in Camry County history. And he got 6 to 15 years. And I will never forget the shock and the look on his face when the judge handed that sentence down. So that type of case, we could have perhaps caught that earlier. We would have had more resources. So I thank Attorney General Sunday for acknowledging this, for putting the resources together. I look forward to helping him in any capacity that we can in the General Assembly. And let it be quite known and let it be quite clear today that if you target our senior citizens, you will be held accountable and you will be brought to justice. Thank you. With that, I have the honor to introduce Pennsylvania Representative Maureen Madden.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Attorney General Sunday, for inviting me to be here today. At its heart, today is about protecting older Pennsylvanians. It's about making sure people who spent their lives building our communities can age with dignity, security, and peace of mind. That's why I'm honored to stand with the Attorney General today as he launches a dedicated Elder Exploitation Section, a real commitment to safeguarding our seniors when they need us most. When older adults experience exploitation, the harm isn't just financial. Many feel ashamed or blame themselves. Some fear being seen as vulnerable. Others worry that speaking up will disrupt family relationships or jeopardize their independence. Far too often, they stay silent, carrying that fear and embarrassment alone. This new section changes that. It ensures that older Pennsylvanians have a place where their voices will be heard, where their concerns will be treated with dignity, and where they will be supported by people who understand the emotional weight these situations carry. It also brings reassurance to families and caregivers who want the best for their loved ones. It shows that the Commonwealth takes these issues seriously, and it is committed not just to accountability, but to compassion. I want to thank Attorney General Sunday for his leadership. Protecting older Pennsylvanians is not only a legal responsibility, it's a moral one. Today's announcement is an important step toward honoring that responsibility. And I just want to mention Attorney General Sunday's quote about, "We will be judged by how we take care of people in the twilight of their life." That was one of my favorite quotes from Hubert Humphrey. We'll be judged by how we treat people in the beginning of their lives and the end of their lives. And that's what I think about every day when I'm here, and I look forward to working with the Attorney General's office and the aging committees and getting this done and protecting our seniors. Thank you so much. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Bill Johnston Walsh from AARP.
Good morning, everyone. I am Bill Johnston Walsh. I'm the State Director with AARP Pennsylvania. On behalf of our 1.8 million members here in the Commonwealth, I want to thank Attorney General Sunday for his leadership and initiative in starting the Elder Exploitation Section within his office. This initiative is a key step forward for the Commonwealth and older Pennsylvanians that are facing abuse, neglect, and exploitation. I had the privilege of meeting with the Attorney General Sunday when he was a candidate Sunday, running for the office. He came up to the AARP office. He was full of energy. He bounced in. He was by himself, which I was very impressed with. And we met. We started talking about, aging issues, how they're impacting the Pennsylvania, and especially about protecting older Pennsylvanians. One of his promises right there on the spot was to set up a section in the Attorney General's office that would protect the most vulnerable elderly Pennsylvanians facing fraud and abuse. And I'm here today to say thank you to Attorney General Sunday for keeping that promise. We know that the section will play a significant role in keeping the most vulnerable members of our society safe, including older adults who often are targeted by scammers and other bad actors. Elder abuse isn't always about the bruises that you can see. Sometimes it's a bank account drained behind closed doors, or intentionally isolating an individual from family and friends. While laws may define these harms, their impact is deeply personal and painful to everyone involved. Financial exploitation is the most common form of elder abuse, and we've heard that here this morning, costing older Americans an estimated $28.3 billion annually. Most cases are caused by someone the victim knows, which is sad to say, such as a family member or caregiver. Yet only a fraction are reported, with some studies suggesting as few as 1 in 14 cases are brought to authorities. Underreporting occurs for many reasons. Embarrassment and dependency on the abuser, is being concerned with any consequences the abuser will have when they report it, especially if it is a family member or who is doing this abuse. Unfortunately, AARP often hears from fraud victims all the time, every day, who find that when they report fraud to their state or local law enforcement officials, they are not able to help as they are not well equipped to investigate these financial crimes. Today's announcement demonstrates a commitment to a statewide coordination and collaboration. Moreover, the commitment is embedded in a sharp recognition that education is essential, and we've heard that today from all the speakers, through programs like the AARP Fraud Watch Network and our AARP Pennsylvania Consumer Issues Task Force. We work with trusted partners to educate older Pennsylvanians about fraud and exploitation, while also providing support for victims seeking the guidance and recovery that they need. Continued investments in law enforcement, older adult protective services, and professional training are critical to improve detection, reporting, and prevention for elder exploitation. These efforts will guide our ongoing work to promote elder justice. Let us move forward together, public officials, advocates, and community partners, to ensure that every elder Pennsylvania can live with financial security, dignity, and respect. AARP Pennsylvania remains steadfast in our commitment to support these initiatives, support the Attorney General, champion elder justice, and empower victims to reclaim their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. All right, that concludes our press conference. If anyone has any specific questions, we'll do our best to take them. Yes?
Yeah, so does the creation of the section involve any new funding or staffing?
At this point, no. We've reallocated certain resources. We've taken individuals that have certain areas of expertise and moved them into this area. I can't say that in the future that won't be the case, but we felt that it was so important to get this going that we had to get started. And so we did the most that we could with what we have.
How large will the team be initially?
Initially, we have, well, it'll be, so we have with us today,
So we have 4 agents.
That's why.
1 attorney full-time, the rest are loaned from other sections.
Right. Yeah, so we have 1 full-time attorney who's here with us today, but then we have other attorneys that are on loan from other sections, for lack of a better way to put it. And we have 4 or 5 agents full-time as well. These are very these cases are extremely complex. There's tons of financial information. You have to go through bank records oftentimes. And so it's very heavy on the investigative side, as well as obviously the victim side as well. Yes, sir.
Jill, you said that about 30 cases have already been referred to you.
Yep.
Where were they referred from, and where do you expect the majority of these cases to be referred from?
Well, what I'll say is this: as these are all ongoing investigations, I hesitate to kind of comment on that at the moment. But what I will say is, right away, we look to find cases that fit within exactly what we're looking for here, because oftentimes, I mean, when you go into the past, the way it worked was, you know, these cases would come in, you would try to find someone that could handle it, but it wasn't a coordinated effort with people that are doing this type of work all day long, every day, advocating with all the other advocates out in the community. And so to that point, we found what was available, and then we had other cases come in through other means. Thank you. And we look forward to more cases coming in as well. So, yes.
Clarify a little bit more that there's this financial exploitation that can happen.
Yes.
Often more with people that are in their lives directly, but there's also scams, whether
Oh, my,
it's
yes.
online, phone, maybe a little less personal,
Yep.
but both are happening here.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. So when you look at, I mean, it's scary what seniors are going through right now. The level, I mean, the margin for error for them is so thin compared to what it may have been decades ago. To your point, you may have someone who is financially exploited locally. You may have that occur through a scam. With the advancements in technology, these scams have become so complex that sometimes police aren't sure if they're a scam or not. And so to that point, in the Attorney General's office, obviously there are a lot of different aspects of the work that's done. So number one, when someone's scammed, if they reach out to the AG's office, we'll do everything we can to mitigate that loss right away. Because depending on the type of scam, you may or may not be able to get your money back. But if we can move quickly, in some instances, we can stop that. So that's done. At the same time, even though technology is moving as fast as it is, we all collectively, I can probably speak for everyone on the stage, works to do everything they can to constantly get the messaging out to seniors to know what to look for. I know everybody's working on that, and in most instances, we're all working on that together. And so essentially, this is plugging a gap that exists in an area where we didn't have that specific area of expertise that was. And the other thing that's really important about this is a lot of these cases may come to a local police department, and God bless the police, they're doing everything they can to get through the day, and they may not have the resources available to go jump into a case like this. Well, now there's a place for them to send it to. Now they can send it to us, and we will step in and we will collaborate with them and the areas on aging to identify which cases are prosecutable, and so that we can get in there and do the best we can. Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for covering this, and thank you everyone for attending today. I'm grateful. Thank you. Okay.